Hello, my name is Oolykee and welcome back to another episode of Workers and Resources, Soviet Republic, the Round Robin series. Today we're going to be focusing on the issues. Right, today we're going to be focusing on three things. First of all, we're going to discuss the coal industries. The second of all, we're going to discuss the crop industries. And third of all, we're going to focus on our time-lapse and expansion of our construction industries. So, first things first, coal industries. How does coal work? Coal is being mined at a certain rate. Rate depends on the quality of the source, which is 56% in our case. 56% of the maximum. I am not 100% sure what the maximum is. Well, actually, I am sure what the maximum is. It's how much the worker can produce themselves. So as you can see here, the productivity per worker can be found if you go to the mining industries, and if you go to the coal mine, you can see here the maximum daily production per worker, 4.2 tons. And the coal that we have here is the vanilla coal that can accommodate 220 workers. Each one of them can process or mine 2.4 tons of coal ore. Since this is around 50% quality, we're going to use 50% for the ease of calculation. Every worker here produces around 2.1 or 2.2 tons of coal per day. So more workers we have, the more coal we can mine. In this case, 103 workers mine around 240 tons of coal. So this is something that we can expect and count on. At the moment, we have 100 people working in the mine. We could increase this production, but also we need to be aware that if we can process this or not. This coal ore needs to be processed into coal in order to be used. So our processing facility here has also a capacity with which it can work, how fast it can process the coal. So in our case, we have the mine here. This is modded mine, I believe, from Mother NATO, but I'm not 100% sure. It can process up to 252 tons of coal per day. Current mining is around 200 tons, so we are processing more coal than we are mining, which is great because we have a huge stockpile of coal. But this is more or less the maximum capacity we can get, 252 tons per day. In order to get more coal produced, we would have to build a new coal processing plant. Now, to do the most with the coal that we have at the moment, so if we have 60% productivity, 60% out of 252 tons of coal would be around 150 tons of coal itself. We're gonna calculate around 150 tons. That is our daily production of coal. Now all of this coal is being utilized straight away. Currently we are stockpiling it because we stopped, as per Kayamayan's instructions, we stopped the export of steel. That means that our steel mill is not producing any steel except the one that is being used for consumption. I will change this because coal is something that we can address straight away, that we can increase or decrease production. So how do you decrease the consumption of coal? As we mentioned here, we have 150 tons of coal extra. If for a little bit safety margin, I will be taking into account 100 tons of coal, that we have 100 tons of coal extra per year. We can increase and decrease this as we see fit, but we're gonna use 100 tons of coal, per day, not per year. So where are we consuming this 100 tons of coal? Most of it goes directly to the steel industries. Steel industries at the moment are not consuming anything because we are not producing coal. Now, how much can we consume per steel mill? How much we are consuming in our steel mill? 375 tons of coal would be with 100% productivity. So if we lower this amount of workers to 50%, that will be 250. We're gonna go to 160 because it's the closest to the amount that we need. With this productivity, we will have half consumption of coal. So in this case, that would be just below 200 tons of coal, 280 to 182 and a half. Now, this is 180 tons of coal, which is still more 187.5. This is still more than we are consuming, than we are producing. So I would go even further. So lowering these workers even further to, let's say, 100. Let's go with 120 workers. 120 workers would be more or less a little bit over 20% of productivity of this plant. What is 20% of this plant? 10% is 37.5. 20% would be 20% would be 75 tons of coal. So 20% productivity we can expect with this amount of workers that we have at the moment. At the moment we are not exporting any steel, so with this productivity, with this production of 120 people working in the steel mill, we should have maximum consumption of 70 tons. I'm disregarding these 20 workers because you never go to 100%. So if we had 100 workers working in a steel mill, our productivity, our consumption of coal would be 70 tons. We already mentioned that we have 150 or 100 to 150 ton production of coal, so that this should be a decent safety margin. So what we're gonna do now is gonna go to our distribution office, train distribution office that we have over here. We're gonna go and allow them to export steel. At the moment is this steel mill, it should be selected here. I'm just gonna go all the way down. No, unfortunately it's not selected, so I'm gonna go and select this. I will pause just in case so we can leave the... Here we go. We're gonna go here and I will export everything over 50% of coal. So whatever they can export over 50% of, pardon me, steel, we're gonna be exporting. This way, the biggest consumer of coal, the steel mill, will have lower capacity of production. At the moment you can see here 70 people working here, so they will not consume more than 70, but in reality it will be 77 to 80 tons of coal per day, which is still way below our coal production. So this should work in the long run. Plus we have to bear in mind that this coal is being used for our cement production, for heating plants and some other areas and industries that we are using it. Brick production, for example. The second thing I would like to address is the meat production. Kayama mentioned that our crop consumption went way too high with meat industries, and I'm gonna go and address this as well. So our main meat producer is the slaughterhouse here. It produces 60 tons of meat per day. If we go to our current meat consumption, if we go to domestic production and consumption for Citizens facility, this year, which is 21st of September, we consumed 300 tons of meat. So we consumed 300 tons of meat. Last year we consumed 315 tons of meat. This year, of course, is going to be a little bit more because we have a bigger population. So this is what we consume. This is not exports. This is nothing related to that. This is what we need. So for our own needs, we need to have 300 tons of meat. At the moment, we have 350 tons of meat in our storage. We are not exporting meat at the moment. We will start exporting meat. Now, the problem with tweaking the crops is that they are seasonal. So if we tweak our crops while the harvest is happening, like we did in this case, we don't know what the projections for the next year will be. Let me show you this. Economy and trade. If we go to the domestic production, this is production of all resources. Last year we produced 21,000, almost 22,000 tons of crops. 22,000. This year we produced 12,000 tons of crops. All of these crops are being constantly consumed, they are constantly being transported, but the biggest problem we have is that our storages are quite limited. We cannot store all our crops in our silos. So a lot of these silos are going to be empty by the time the harvest, they're going to be full by the time the harvest is over, and we won't be able to store them because we don't have capacity. Currently we don't have capacity for 21 tons of crops. So in order to increase quote-unquote capacity, we need to increase consumption during the harvest season. Now bear in mind that harvest season only lasts for 3 months out of the year, so that means we can consume or have the maximum production or consume quarter of our crops during this time. So we should be consuming quarter of our crops. Now quarter of the crops is 5,000 tons, and I don't think we can consume 5,000 tons within 3 months. Most of the stuff that we are doing at the current rate of consumption, because we're not exporting meats, there's no more need for meat, and then cattle is not being produced because there's no need for cattle if there's no need for meat, and then cattle is held in the farms. And then we have our alcohol production and we have our food production. All of these are consuming our crops. So in what way, how much are we producing, how much are we consuming? We're going to cover this right now. So in this republic, we are currently producing and consuming overall production. You can see we can go for this year because it's going to be same as the last year, and by the end of the year it's going to be even more. So this year we produced 2,455 tons of food. How much did we consume? So 2,500 tons. Consumption of resources. Our citizens facility consumed half of that, so half of it was exported. So that means that our food exports are, well, doing a decent job. I will just real quickly need to go and cover where the train distribution offices are. Sorry about that. We have train distribution offices here, and those are the only two we have. Our exports could be done by roads. I need to double check that just to be on real quickly to check if we have the cargo station over here. Mobile silo. No, at the moment we are not exporting any food from this farm distributor. No, this is just for the distribution, export distribution office. Here we go. So this is these guys are exporting alcohol. These guys are exporting meats over 20%, and currently meat exports have stopped. Alcohol export, you can see that they are working, and we do not have the food exports. I believe Kayamaya paused that as well due to the crop consumption. Okay, so how can we mitigate this or do something about it? I'm gonna continue exporting meat. but we're gonna lower the meat production. Also, I will just go for the export distribution office. I will tell them to export all the meat that is over 20%. 20% is a decent capacity for our domestic consumption, and at the same time I will lower our domestic production way down. So I will go for 5 workers working in a slaughterhouse. 5 workers is 10% of our workforce. So if this slaughterhouse works at 100% productivity, that means that they're going to be producing 6 tons of meat per day. On the yearly basis, that's going to be around 1,000 tons of meat, and we are consuming 315. We consumed 315 tons last year, so we should have more than enough meat for our domestic consumption. This is how much crop will 10% of the slaughterhouse produce. Sorry, how much meat, how much crops will 5% of our slaughterhouse consume in the end. So production is 6 tons per day. That means 10% of livestock. That would be 15 tons of livestock per day. And if we go to our slaughterhouse, 15 tons of livestock consumes 25 tons of crops. And more or less times 400, 365 would be our yearly consumption. That would be 10,000 tons of crops, but because it's 365, would be around 8,000, I would say about now 9,000 tons of crops. So 9,000 tons of crops goes into our meat production at the current rate that Oolykee has it set. So we should be using 9,000 tons of crops if everything works around 100%. We have 21,000 ton production, which is a really great production. That's a really great production of crops. So we have a rest of it, 12,000 tons to spread out wherever else we need. There are 2 places where we need crops. If you continue on, 2 places where we need crops, that would be the food production and alcohol production. We can check both of those statistics if we go to our consumption. We can go to citizens facility and we can go for this year consumption. We consumed only 6 tons of alcohol. That's a little bit weird, but that's pretty low. But let's keep it like this. We're gonna have to address this issue as well. Something burned down, grain loader. Well, that's unfortunate. We lost one grain loader. We're gonna have to rebuild it. I'm gonna rebuild, but I'm gonna leave this to Kayamaya and Cheap to mitigate themselves. I will just go and find a new home for these grain loaders that have question marks around them. Okay, going back to the... I'm gonna just double check. Yes, we have a few of them. Luckily for them, they were not in the distribution office when the fire happened. So we can find them a new home real quickly. That was less loss for us. The building will be rebuilt. That will be fine. And I think the rest of it should be fine. There we go. No more question marks. I will leave this for Kayamaya to rebuild this distribution office. Sorry, Cheap is the next one who's going to be doing this. Cheap, this is your responsibility. Continuing on, I'm going to just address the issue of crop consumption. To cover it, meat consumption and production should not exceed 8 to 9,000 tons of crops, so it shouldn't take even 50% of our production. So if we go back to food, we can see here the food citizens facility for this year. They consumed 1,300. Let's say that by the end of the year it's going to be 1,500, 1,600, even if it's a 2,000 tons. Last year we consumed 1,600 tons, so let's say 1,700 tons of food. Usually food takes 2 to 1, 65 tons of crops or 31 tons of food, so it's a little bit more than 2 to 1, but let's say 2 to 1. With this current consumption, for domestic consumption, we only need around 3,500 tons of crops. 3,500 tons of crops for domestic consumption. Now, we did have some exports. We did have some food exports. I'm just going to double check if we are still doing this. Distribution office with the farms. Currently, we are not loading food. Currently, we're not consuming food, so we can expect only 3,000 tons of crops to be consumed within next year. For food production. Altogether with meat production, that shouldn't go over 12 to 13,000 tons. And then we have another 9,000 tons left for alcohol production. Alcohol production, as you can see here, brewery is at 0. I'm gonna assume that this is Kayamaya set this at 0. We can start slowly production over here as well. So that means that we're gonna be consuming some crops for production of alcohol, but this is just for domestic production. I will not exceed minimum. Let's go, let me see. No, I cannot set it at 10 workers, but let's go for 20 workers at the moment. 20 workers, it's about a little bit more than 10% of production. That will be 1 ton of alcohol per day. And for domestic consumption, as you can see here, citizens facilities for the last year, we did not, I am looking something wrong, let me just double check. Consumption of resources, citizens facility says here that is, this year we consumed only 6 tons of alcohol, last year 0. I think we only started distribution of alcohol, so this is the reason why I didn't consume that much alcohol. We can put it as a minimum production, so if we have any additional crops, we can always return it to the, we can always return the crops to the we can always increase the production of the crops or decrease the production of meats. There we go. So these are the two things, coal related and the crop related, that I wanted to address. So I believe, I hope that now we should be covered with coal and the crops for the foreseeable future. We should be overproducing both coal, as you can see here, and overproducing crops as well. Now crops is a little bit tricky to deal with because it's only 3 months harvesting season, and you have to have enough storage for crops to last you for the rest of the year. So we should gradually increase our production if we're gonna continue exporting crops. So we have enough production for our citizens' needs for alcohol, meat and food, and we are exporting a little bit of meat, just a little bit, not too much, but we'll see how that's gonna go. Okay, so we're gonna address the next issue. This is where Oolykee is gonna create a new new construction area. I think I'm gonna go for this area over here. I hope the guys didn't call dibs on this area, so I'm gonna build a couple of construction offices. But the most important thing for this is gonna be the delivery of the construction materials. So that's gonna mean that means that our Oolykee is gonna extend the railroads in this direction. So Oolykee is gonna start building a new railroad. We're gonna do a time lapse over here, and let's go. It's gonna be around 5-ish minutes. So see you in 5. Right. So we need to assign all these constructions to the construction offices, both dumpers and buses. Where are we? If we have the... I totally need to start using this amazing tool that I can just mark everything to be constructed. But for now, I'm gonna leave it like this. Dumpers are required for every single except this one, but it doesn't matter. It can be still on the list. They're gonna start delivering these materials here. You can see most of the stuff that is being constructed is gonna be assigned. I'm pretty sure I'm gonna assign all of it. So we have dumpers, we need to do it 2 more times. All of this needs to be done 2 more times. We have 3 electricity infrastructure. We don't have electricity connected here yet, and I need the water supply to this area. I'm gonna do it like this, and this is gonna be done by, well, let's call it, it's not really automation, but automatically. Everything except buses is going to be done early on. So everything is selected for dumper trucks. We have a couple of more things to do. So we have the flat mixers. Oh, we're missing flatbeds as well. That doesn't matter. We're gonna assign it real quickly here. Right. So what I wanted to say that everything is gonna be done and finished except the buses delivering people to construct all of this. So mixers not needed there. That's fine. Hopefully Kayamaya and Chiba are gonna be doing this. Railroads should be constructed. I think this is the last train that has an issue. No, this one here. We need to construct this one and they can't. This little part of the railroad needs to be constructed. This is why Oolykee, when he did, I think I lost my lost my mojo. Let me do real quickly this. I'm gonna just assign all these mixers to this. Mixers are probably gonna be the least used ones. Let's go here. Roads are not important. These don't require anything, but I'm gonna assign them just in case. They don't require mixers, they only require cement and gravel. Roads are also not finished, and I don't want to finish them because road layout can be changed to suit the best traffic that we can have in these areas. So I intentionally left it really long entrance areas, and I would even prolong it further because depends on how much traffic we're gonna see in this area. This should be it. I think all of it should be assigned right now, so they should be working on it, except the flatbeds. Flatbeds, I missed them somewhere. Come on. Okay, do I have to go and manually find them? Components, mixers, dumpers. Okay, Oolykee is gonna have to go and find them. Let's see where the flatbeds are located. So if we go here, and then find the mixers, mechanisms, buses. Really? Is that under mechanisms? Then here we go. Flatbeds. Where are you? Show me. Show me yourself. Here we go. Right. I totally forgot about this. Okay. Flatbeds 1, 2, 3. Let's see. Oolykee will have to find this out sooner or later. Construction office assigned tool. Okay. It's already assigned for what? Everything? Oolykee will never learn. So I'm just gonna double click on this because the flatbeds weren't assigned to this. Here we go. There we go. Hopefully all of this is gonna be delivered in time and should be done. Hopefully, I don't even know. I don't know what to predict with this, how long this construction might take. Again, the roads are not finished yet. We have 6 additional construction offices, 2 depots. These depots are here because if you want to rearrange the vehicles or anything, you're gonna have depots to park your extra cars for if Oolykee wants to create his own CO2 down from now on. The construction office setup number 2. It's gonna be CO3 as well, but CO2, if Oolykee wants to do something on his own, he can do it, but also it can be arranged as Kayamaya and Chib want, and they can just arrange the vehicles real quickly if they want to change anything with this. I'm also happy to leave this as an automation, but we'll see how it works, how it goes. I wanted to cover something else, but I totally forgot what I wanted to say here. I think, right, the railroad. What is the problem with you? You are creating this. The railroad thing is an interesting, you know what, let me show what Oolykee can do to cheat. If you remove the semaphores, they're gonna go in a different locations. So this is what Oolykee needs to do. You don't build these switches when you're building the railroads. You need to build these switches. So one here and one way back. So this one needs to be constructed as a priority, and when this is constructed, then your trains will be able to go left and right. These X doesn't work, not here. So you can see here that this guy is going to be putting the electricity hoses on the railroad line here. The other one is going to be going for a while, but after that, after they are done with this, they both will be able to go back in the direction that they wanted. And I put this as a priority. Hopefully one of those two guys is gonna go here first to finish this railroad. If not, we're gonna have to micromanage this railroad construction, unfortunately. This is what Oolykee wanted to cover, this railroad thing. These X intersections for railroad construction, at least for me, don't work. You have to have in one direction, usually in the opposite direction first, and then in the right direction closer to your construction office. But this is still in experimental phases, so don't take this seriously. Oolykee still needs to... I'll make a tutorial if I come to any sensible conclusion regarding this. Anyway, railroad is coming. Railroad is going in this direction. We're gonna have storage for construction materials, storage for gravel and gravel related industries. There is space if we need to have oil tank for bitumen, additional tank. We have the cement. We have some space here for cement storage. And the last thing that Oolykee didn't build, and I'm gonna build it real quickly, that would be distribution office for several things. Oh, that's a big sucker. So I'm gonna go for smaller ones. Will they fit better? Let's see, number 1 and 1. Yeah, definitely. I'm gonna go for 2 smaller distribution offices. Why smaller? Because they can go for fuel and then for bitumen, cement and other stuff that needs to be delivered here. So hopefully this is gonna be all connected, and Oolykee is gonna be smart this time and click on everything to be delivered straight away. So for construction of these things, Kayamaya also wanted us to go for buses and to source people from Tunguska workers, because I think we should have way too many workers here. So use a source building Tunguska for buses. So buses are gonna go all the way from there, but they're gonna only source people from here and deliver them. It's gonna be much faster for them. Fuel wise, we need to build a gas station, but again, the gas station, we can do the stupid thing. Oolykee is gonna do a stupid thing first. I'm gonna build this gas station over here. That would be the vanilla, the free one. This is just for our vehicles, so they can refuel there if they need by any chance. And then I will need a distribution office. Let's see where we have distribution offices. Distribution office, this is it for fuel? No, this is for electronics. 3,000 meters. We have distribution there, that's for farming. Distribution, I believe this is regarding the railroad construction. Then we have distribution over here. No, that's a garage. Is it? Yeah, this is export distribution. I thought that this was export. No, this is railroad construction. And then we have farming there, and then distribution offices here for fuel. These are the ones that Oolykee was looking for. We have liquid distribution, 19 out of 20. They have free vehicles. Oolykee is gonna just put this new... I need to stop talking about myself in the third person. Just put it here so we can deliver fuels. Let me see. Yes, there's a vehicle on the way. So they can deliver on this free gas station fuels over here. Now for functioning gas station, it's not a problem. We can build it anywhere around here, but it's gonna need electricity. So we're gonna need electricity for the for these industries to work. So this is supposed to be gravel delivery system that's gonna deliver gravel and give us a head start on all of our construction that is happening here, from the harbor, port, the container port, and the new town, new villages, new industries, everything new. Even electricity is in place. We're missing water, of course, as previously mentioned. This is going to require water. This area doesn't require heating. Electricity is delivered. Sewage is going to be... Sewage is probably something that we should address as well. I'm just going to go and see how we're doing with the sewage. We are still not working with the sewage, so this should work fine. We don't have any sewage, so no water and sewage system over here. For Oolykee, I think we can go with water and sewage. I will talk to Kayamaya and Chib and see if we can implement sewage and water in our little republic over here. That's it. I'm gonna leave it here, and I'm gonna say thank you for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed this one. If you did, press the like button. If you didn't, leave a nasty comment in the comment section. Let me know what you think. Like, subscribe, notification bell, ring, and comment section, hit it. And if you want to support the channel, you have description of the video. Don't forget to subscribe to Kayamaya's and Chib's channel. And yeah, happy Friday. See you in the next one. Bye bye.